The table was set like it always was for something important, cloth ironed flat, glasses aligned, food arranged to suggest abundance, even when conversation never quite matched it. My sister sat close to my father, angled toward him, listening the way people do when they already know they're about to be praised. My son sat beside me, swinging his legs under the chair, tracing the rim of his water glass with one finger. He was old enough to understand tone, old enough to hear what wasn't being said. My father cleared his throat. He liked an audience, liked the sense that a moment was forming around him. "Your sister gave me everything I ever wanted," he said, raising his own glass slightly toward her. "She gave this family a real legacy." The word landed with a soft finality. Legacy. Something finished. Something bestowed. I didn't look at my sister. I looked at my son. His shoulders drooped in a way that was almost imperceptible, like a tent losing one of its poles. He leaned toward me, voice low, careful not to interrupt. "So," he whispered, "I'm not part of it?" The room was still talking. Someone laughed politely. Forks clinked. No one noticed the question except me. For a split second, everything I'd practiced over decades tried to surface. "Don't overreact. He didn't mean it like that. You can explain it later. Keep the peace." Then I felt something else, quieter and firmer, the understanding that later is how these things calcify. Later is how children learn to doubt their place. I reached for my glass. The sound it made against the table, just a light tap, was enough. Conversations thinned. My father looked at me surprised, mildly annoyed at the interruption. "I'd like to say something," I said. My voice didn't shake. "That surprised me. I want to propose a toast." I continued, standing halfway without fully rising, the glass steady in my hand. "To legacy." A few people nodded, relieved. "This," they thought, "was going to be safe." "My understanding," I said, "is that legacy is about what we pass on when we're not in the room to explain ourselves. It's what our children learn by watching us decide who belongs." My father's smile tightened. "So I want to be clear," I went on, looking down at my son now, then back around the table. "From this moment on, my child and I won't be participating in any legacy that requires him to wonder if he counts." The silence that followed was not polite. It was stunned. I set the glass down gently. Effective immediately, we're stepping away from the family trust discussions and the shared planning meetings. I've already spoken with counsel. Our involvement ends tonight. My father's chair scraped back an inch. "You're being dramatic," he said. "That's not what I meant." "I know," I said. "That's why I'm clarifying." My sister opened her mouth, then closed it. Someone at the far end of the table stared into their plate like it had suddenly become fascinating. "This isn't the time," my father said. "It's the only time," I replied. "Because it just happened." I turned to my son and sat back down, placing my hand over his. He was watching my face, not the room. "You are part of what matters," I said to him quietly. "Always." His shoulders eased, not lifted. Exactly, but steadied, like he'd found his footing again. The rest of the evening unraveled in fragments. My father tried to reframe, to soften, to insist on intent. I didn't argue. Intent had already had its say. We left early. No slammed doors, no speeches. Just coats, goodbyes that hovered uncertainly, and the cool night air closing around us like a reset. In the car, my son was quiet for a while. Then he asked, "Did I do something wrong?" "No," I said. "You asked the right question. What's a legacy?" he asked. I thought about it as we drove. "It's what you build when you decide who you're loyal to," I said. "Sometimes that means leaving places that don't know how to make room." The calls came later. That night, then the next morning. My father's voice moved through anger, confusion, bargaining. My sister sent messages that tried to separate intention from impact. I answered one, briefly. "My priority is my child's sense of belonging." I wrote, "That isn't negotiable." Some relationships cracked under that sentence. Others went quiet, waiting to see if I'd walk it back. I didn't. Weeks passed. Plans were revised without us. Stories were told that framed my decision as excessive, emotional, unnecessary. I let them be told. At home, something else took shape. My son stopped scanning rooms for approval. He spoke more freely. He asked questions without lowering his voice. One night, as I tucked him in, he said, "I liked what you said at dinner." I asked, "That I count?" he said, matter of fact. I didn't know grown-ups could say that out loud. I kissed his forehead. Some can, I said. And some need practice. I don't know what my father thinks of legacy now. I know what I do. It isn't something inherited or awarded or praised into existence. It's something you interrupt a room for. Something you choose, even when it costs you a seat at the table. And sometimes it's a glass lifted not in celebration, but in correction, so a child never has to whisper that question again.